Today's lesson is Orientation 34, Healthy Foundation 17, about Brain Gym. I want to tell you about Brain Gym. When we first learned about Brain Gym, we went to a seminar training on it up in the Rocky Mountains, and we could only afford for one of us to go. So since my husband was a little bit hard of hearing, he said, well, you go ahead and you take the training and I'll sit outside and I'll read. And I said, okay. So I went into the class, and pretty soon the instructor was a little bit unnerved by the fact that there was a guy sitting outside at the picnic table, and she was wondering what he was doing there. And I said, oh, well, that's my husband. Well, why isn't he in here? Does he teach too? And I said, yes. And he said, so why isn't he in here? I said, well, we couldn't afford a second tuition for the course. And she said, bring him in. I want him, bring him. I said, well, he's kind of hard of hearing. He won't be able to hear everything. Bring him in. So he came in, and I said, we can't afford to pay. She said, don't worry about it, which I was very, very thankful for. And he sat down, and she said, okay, I want you to sit with your good ear toward me. So he did. And then she said, I want you to do some exercises. And she did some exercises, which are called the thinking caps. And you get a hold of your ears and the cartilage, and you slowly bend them back. You just curl them back slowly. You're massaging the cartilage of your ears. And you do that 3 times from the top where they're attached to your head to the bottom. And you do that 3 times. That's called thinking caps. And she had him do some other things. And I had to leave the room for a while. And while I was gone, I came back, and somebody said, do you know what happened with your husband? I said, no. I said, all of a sudden he blurted out, I can hear. That's Brain Gym. Normally, that isn't what happens. It takes some time to effect a more optimal response, but it's not just for academic and brain prowess. It can help you with hearing, it can help you with seeing, it can help in physical activities, it helps business people in their businesses, it helps people who are professional golfers, it can help all sorts of people. The Brain Gym exercises. Another little anecdote I want to tell you about is about our granddaughter. When we returned from the seminar, our granddaughter was going to a regional cross-country match, and she was one of 7 girls on her team, but 2 of them had dropped out, and our granddaughter went even though she had a torn tendon or ligament. I'm not sure what it was, but anyway, we arrived, and her father was massaging her ankle and so forth, and she was in a lot of pain. But in order for her team to qualify for the regionals, she had to run. And so I said, well, would you mind trying an experiment? So I taught her a couple of the exercises, and she applied them. She came in with a personal best and was the first person to come in on our team. Now tell me, did the Brain Gym exercises have anything to do with that? You bet they did. And it's important. Another anecdote I wish to tell you about is a young girl who that very summer also was one of my husband's students. He was tutoring her in reading. She had overcome her dyslexia, but her reading speed was way down there. I think it was something like 79 words a minute or something. And so he asked her to do the exercises. He taught her the pertinent exercises and asked her to do the exercises. Well, that was on a Thursday. She returned on Tuesday to tutoring, and he asked her, have you done the exercises? No, I haven't done the exercises. What can exercises do to help me? Well, he said, I want you to do the exercises. I want you to do them 2 to 3 times a day, and let's see what they will do for you. Well, from Tuesday to Thursday, she came back, and her reading speed had gone up to 129 or 139 words a minute. The exercises work, people. It isn't as always fantastic results like that, but they do work over time. They work. Another situation I want to tell you about is a school counselor who took aside a girl and a couple of boys who were having difficult problems, who were not up to speed and up to age grade level and so forth. This young girl was in 5th grade, but she was back in 1st and 2nd grade in her abilities. She could not speak in full sentences. She could not walk without a limp, and she had a lot of problems. Well, the school counselor took her during the recess times, and she worked with her on these exercises. At Christmas time, her mother called and said, "What are you doing with my daughter?" And the counselor was a little concerned that maybe something had gone wrong or awry. But what she found out was that the doctor had said, "Hey, your daughter is speaking in full sentences, and she's walking with a much better gait." Well, by the end of the year, the girl was up to speed at her 5th grade level. That's what the exercises can do over time. It's important to do them correctly. It's important to do all of them, to mix it up with the different routines, and to be consistent about it. So that's Brain Gym. Please use the exercises as they are given in the opening exercises curriculum. Thank you.